Hello, welcome to tonight's Hellraiser blog. If you enjoy the blog, please hit the subscribe button. Just watched Olyksandr Usyk stop Tony Bellew in 8 rounds. We predicted on the blog it would be 7. She ended up early in round 8. I mean, it went very much how I expected it to go. Usyk is a very intriguing fighter. I can't see anyone beating him at cruiserweight. I mean, it would take some fluke punch to beat him, and really, Bellew's only chance was probably a fluke punch. And I heard people and saw stuff on social media, people that thought that Bellew was close. And look, he didn't come close. I mean, Bellew is one of the better cruiserweights in the world at the moment, and I'm not saying he's top 3, but he's up there. And I mean, Usyk just played with him. Usyk never got out of first gear. He did exactly what he wanted. He positioned Bellew where he wanted Bellew to go. Bellew was backing off. I mean, if Bellew had one chance, it was to hold the centre of the ring, to let his shots go. They had to be big, confident, regardless of the circumstances and what was going on in the fight. He had to land that big right hand, or at least use the big right hand as a decoy for something else that was going to come, or use something else as a decoy to then land the right hand. But Bellew could not do that because Usyk was forcing the positioning of where they were in the ring, and he was forcing Bellew to back off. I mean, Bellew back off just does not make sense. If he backs off, he has zero chance. If Usyk was the sort of guy that would come racing in, like a Deontay Wilder who comes flying in behind his jab, then you'd think, okay, well, Bellew, maybe then you can back off, because if you can slip one of those big jabs, you can come back with a right hand, and hope you have to hope to catch him with one big shot and get him out of there. It's such a strange sport, boxing. You know, if it was like football, you say, okay, well, they're winning 4-0, they're miles in front. But you couldn't be losing 4-0 and the supporters of one team, or just people that are watching, be sort of saying, oh yeah, we're flying ahead here, or this. I mean, there was people on social media saying Bellew is 1 point behind. I mean, that's incredible. He wasn't one. I mean, that was one-way traffic. Usyk did exactly what he wanted. He didn't get out. I mean, he was in warm-up mode for the vast majority of the fight. The last round, he stepped up a gear. The last round and a half, he stepped up a gear. But the rest of the time, he was warming up. He was like playing chess. He was putting Bellew, and Bellew was actually backing off and sitting in the corner, which is exactly where Usyk wanted him to go. And that's why Usyk is, for me, he's a genius. He is a really, really clever fighter. It's going to take someone absolutely extraordinary at cruiserweight to beat him. I can't see him. I mean, the current batch of cruiserweights, there's no one there that I see that has the ring generalship, the genius touch to even compete with him. He's just too far ahead. He does so many clever things in how he opens up guards, how he positions himself, how he basically tricks people into doing what he wants them to do. Is extremely clever, and I think it's going to be very interesting. He's going to move up to heavyweight, no doubt, and when he goes up to heavy, that's going to set a whole new challenge, because then obviously the size difference, he'll be giving away a lot of natural advantages that he has at cruiser. I mean, if you think he was the same height as Bellew, he had, I think, a 4-inch reach advantage, which must be quite weird for a lot of those cruisers that are used to having like longer reach than their opponents, and they're going against Usyk and they're getting hit with shots when they're seemingly far away, when they're out of range. Anyway, I see him moving up to heavy now. I think that's why he's come and boxed Bellew on a Matchroom show, so that people that follow Joshua are going to see Usyk, and that's probably a fight for the future. From the point of view of British boxing and supporting Joshua, I'd like to see it sooner rather than later, because I think Joshua's size at the moment would be too much for Usyk, despite his outstanding boxing ability. I just think it would be too much. But if it's left to develop and to build, which I actually think they have to do anyway, that was like the first step of it maybe tonight. But if it is going to be made to build that fight, Usyk will be a handful for Joshua, because if they were both the same size, Usyk and Joshua, I'll tell you what, my money would be immediately on Usyk. They're not the same size. Joshua's much bigger, and because of that, I think it makes it a very interesting fight. For me, Usyk will box rings round Joshua from a technical point of view, but the difference between Bellew and Joshua is the size, and of course that's going to play a big part. And Joshua's no idiot. No, he's not going to back off into corners and stand off and give Usyk that space. He will force Usyk to fight and try and close him down and manhandle him. And at the moment, I think he would manage to do that. The thing is, in a year's time, who knows? If Usyk can grow and can build, into a bigger guy, then you've got a very interesting fight there. And I wouldn't have confidence that Joshua would beat him if Usyk has, say, like 18 months to grow into the weight. It's just whether there are, if they will have the patience to do that with Usyk, because how boxing goes, normally they go with the money, where the money is, and the money will be with Joshua. If he does get the chance to build up, that is a really, really interesting fight, because that guy's a genius. I mean, my top three, as I've said before on the Hellraiser blog, number 1 Lomachenko, number 2 Gary Crawford, Bud Crawford, sorry, and number 3 is Usyk, and that's just confirmed everything to me tonight. He just seems to get better and better. He's got everything. His brain is phenomenal. The speed that he thinks at, and it's like he already has got so much experience of doing it, but some of the things he does, I see it for the first time, but he's clearly done it before. The way he opens up the guard, it's very similar to Lomachenko, throwing shots into the gloves. The way, for me, the way he boxes as a southpaw is perfect southpaw tactics. He moves to the right, he gets his right hand up. You saw him again tonight against Bellew. He was feinting to the body, drawing Bellew's front hand down. Then as soon as his hand was down, he was coming over the top of it and moving outside to his right, so that Bellew could not, even if Bellew had thrown his right hand, it would not have landed clean, because Usyk was moving away from it all the time, which puts constant pressure on Bellew. And I felt sorry for the guy in there, because he's a game fighter, he's a very genuine, brave guy, Bellew, and he was just completely outclassed and out of sorts in there. And probably, I mean, you can see I've done a commentary of sorts on the fight, and probably about a round before the end, I was just sort of almost willing it to finish, because Dave Caldwell was saying to me in the corner, it's about how much you want it, and that would be fine if it was like round 11, but it wasn't. It was like just past the halfway stage, or coming up to the halfway stage, and you could see he'd run his race. He had nothing in there. He had tried everything that he could try. For me, it wasn't a close fight. And you saw Bellew really, I guess, burning out and blowing a lot of energy on stuff that was not effective, because he was unable to actually close the distance down and get his shots onto Usyk. And Usyk knew that, and he knew exactly what he was doing. Listen, this is one of the best fighters out there at the moment, Usyk. So Olyksandr Usyk, what a phenomenal fighter, and we'll see how he fares against the bigger guys, because I'm convinced now he goes to heavyweight, and we'll see, but extremely impressive tonight from Olyksandr Usyk. Guys, if you enjoyed the blogs, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, but the subscribe button is what we like, because the subscribers are going through the roof at the moment, so the channel is growing. Alright, cheers for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon on the Hellraiser blog. Bye bye, see you then.